You're driving along a desolate desert road. There's nothing around for miles and miles. Nothing but dry sand, sun-scorched plants, and heat. Intense heat. Then your engine sputters. Smoke billows from under the hood. You're in big trouble. You call for help, but it will take hours for anyone to arrive. If you don't act, you could succumb to heat illness, dehydration, or worse yet, heat stroke. So what would you do to survive the excruciating heat? Should you A. Stay in your car and take off your clothes? B. Trace your steps and walk back in the direction you came to find help? Or C. Seek shade and shelter outside of your car? The right answer might surprise you, but first, what kind of danger are you really in?
In general, the hottest weather in the U.S. is found in the desert Southwest, and that's going to be in the summer months, anywhere from California to Arizona into New Mexico. So when the sun beats down on the ground, if there is moisture in the ground, some of the sun's energy will go into evaporating that moisture out into the air. If there is no moisture in the ground, more of the sun's energy can then go into just warming up the air. And that's a big part of why it gets so much hotter in very dry areas.
These arid landscapes receive less than 10 inches of rain in an entire year. And it may surprise you to learn that less than 15% of deserts are actually covered in sand.
About 1/3 of the Earth's land surface is partially or totally desert. And that doesn't necessarily mean a hot desert. Desert can be incredibly cold. Desert is just an area that does not get a lot of precipitation.
With lack of water, high daytime temperatures, and sometimes freezing conditions at night, deserts can be extremely dangerous places for humans.
In the desert, in the daytime, can be very hot depending on the season. And so major issues with that are how long you're going to be out, how much water you're drinking, and can you find shade.
The body is well conditioned to deal with heat for a short period of time. Long exposures to heat can lead to dehydration and eventually heat exhaustion or heat stroke. Those are always dangerous to be concerned about when you're traveling in the desert.
And those are risks that you are becoming increasingly worried about. Do you know what to do to help keep yourself alive? The right answer? C. Seek shade and shelter just outside of your car.
Anytime that you're stranded with your vehicle, the best course of action is to stay close to the vehicle. Again, it's going to offer you protection from the elements and is really a lot easier to see than somebody walking alone out across a desert. Make sure that you've got a blanket or something to set on that's going to keep you protected from the heat underneath. Also, you're going to need a sunshade. You may be able to use the tailgate or a hood as a sunshade. Stretch a blanket between a couple of doors to give you some protection from the sun. Also consider using your floor mats as a way to protect you from the heat on the ground.
But there's one shaded place you don't want to be.
Staying inside the car can be dangerous for sure. If you stay inside the car, the inside temperature of that car is going to get extremely hot.
And whatever wind there may be present in the desert that would help you dissipate heat, it's not going to go into the car.
The hottest temperature ever recorded in the U.S. was 134 degrees, and that was back in 1913 in Death Valley, California. Generally speaking, when temperatures get up to about 130 or so, which is where they can get there on sidewalks and parts of California and the Southwest, then it takes about 20 minutes to fry an egg.
Wouldn't stripping out of your clothes help to cool you off?
It may seem like you want to take your clothes off to cool off. It's actually a bad idea. Your body will begin to sweat fairly quickly, and you can imagine as you sweat, your clothes are going to get wet, and that's going to actually act as a natural air conditioner. So if you can keep the sun off your skin, you'll have less probability of sunburn and dehydration.
As for walking to find help,
leaving the vehicle and walking out into the heat and exposing yourself to the heat is probably not the best thing to do. If your fear is that you're not going to be able to be spotted, definitely try to get as much bright clothing as you can, put it on top of your car, because if they do send out some type of air rescue, it's going to be easier to see with bright colored clothing.
As far as protection from being stranded in the desert, you want to stay well hydrated. You want to make sure that you're physically able to make the journey. Also a great idea before you go to let people know you'll be traveling in some of these locations.
Hopefully you'll never face being stranded in the desert, but if you do, get out of your car during the hot day and find shade away from the blistering asphalt. Don't take off your clothes, and don't abandon your car in the hopes of finding assistance. Keep cool, and you'll live through this scorching ordeal.